Tuesday mornings, Tuesday evening, Tuesday afternoon, maybe early Wednesday, depends where you are. Um, what's the story? Do tell me, do tell me, do tell me. Let me know where you're coming from, what your day is going like. We're going to get into some stuff. Gonna probably be here for like an hour today. So I'd come on here, see if I got anybody coming through. That's not the right button to push. We gonna get this thing set up. Been having a pretty good go of everything lately, so we're gonna just do these things. Think you got it done. Add this question. And this is real simple. It's a straightforward. Okay, we're gonna get this thing going real quick. Be out here just as long. We're gonna see what's going on. Gonna be just for a little while today. See what we're working with. Hope people doing good. Send a message out to the universe. Be live in color for you. And if you got some, somebody, what's up, man? How you doing? Thank you for coming through. How are you doing today? Tell me where you're coming from. I am on here live in color. Thank you for taking the poll question. Someone say yes. I like that. That's a very cool name. Tell me now where you're coming from today. How's your day going? Let's see what people are talking about today. Mhm. All right. Well, who are you? Where you coming from? And thank you. And New York City. Okay. Compliments. Thank you. Tell me about yourself, where you're coming from. Appreciate that. Thank you for the words. I knew there's gonna be somebody coming in trying to keep it warm, trying to be raw. Do seem like familiar though. Anyway, tell me where you're coming from. What's your story? What you feel, and also take that poll question, hit them likes too. We trying to get all this stuff. Yo, what's up? Thank you so much. All right, we got some more faces and places, and keep on hitting them likes up and take the poll question. Let me know where you're coming from, what's on your mind. I don't try to stress. I try to keep myself at peace and ease. That's all. Even when I'm doing serious stuff, I like to. I don't know what your name is. And I don't do names unless, of course, I know where you're coming from, who you are. You got to hit up my like button. You got to take the poll questions and you got to tell me something about yourself. I'm just not going to randomly do stuff out of respect because I want people to feel comfortable. But I do like these poll questions. It's pretty good. We are definitely getting some vibe up in here. Anyway, and are any of you that are in here right now content creators too? I like to ask that question. You ask a lot of questions. A lot of questions. Well, who are you? What's your vibe? And then I can answer. I don't just go blurt out stuff unless I know. Because when people come on the live stream, we are regarding. I know who you is. I know exactly who you are. You've been here before. Deja vu, you know. But anyway, tell me about yourself and feel free. Keep on hitting the like button and the smash up. The more that you we do the feedback, the more we can talk. So how's everybody's weather going today? What are the conditions? Is we spring? Are we spring yet? Let me know. Remember, like the rules say, always protect your back end. So what everybody says, come on through and feel free to converse. Definitely a good hit today, though. People got questions, and yes. All right. Gone quiet on me now. Let's see. The JD Vance is 50-50. Okay, that's interesting. I wonder how many people gonna think it's AI though. I got a feeling it's real though. He gotta be wanting to feel that way because he's vice president, and to get diss tracked like that, you gotta feel a certain way. You can't just have someone just say that you run all rush shot. So I don't know. Just gotta look at it for what it is. Anyway, feel free to give me comments and let me know what's up. We are going through everything. Um, I'd like to think I am. I'm here on Earth. I'm never gonna ask a question like that again. And you know, tell me about yourself. You coming through? What's your story? What's the deal? I feel good. These some good vibes. Timing is everything. I think this is good. I like the time period. It seemed like it worked pretty good. Seems to be good energy. Mm. Okay. Okay. We're going pretty quiet now. We're gonna see what we're working with. I see what kind of people. If you're in, feel free to ask questions. Feel free to hit the like, and take the poll question. 57% are definitely reporting that they feel that it is real. Again, that's about Vice President J.D. Vance. Allegedly, there's a diss, and he thinks Elon Musk been going too far, which to me is not even anything that I would not disagree. I think it is. He has gone too far. Elon Musk and said a whole lot of stuff. So let's take it on. Let's see what we got. Okay, so people have gone quiet again. So I hope everybody's having a good day. I got to do a little circulation. Hmm. You know, if you're going to ask questions, then you must continue to the process. And then we got to see where we go on. And as again, as another public service announcement, um, a PSA from here. Eventually, all the videos that I do live for live stream will be up on the podcast. So what you don't see live, you'll see on the podcast. And if you require and request to see more of live, let me know. Hit me up in the I do have a email, so feel free to let me know if you want to see more. And so that way we can stay in communication. Okay. So anyway, I'm going to see what we're working with real quickly with everything. I don't know why that thing is flashing though. Stream seems kind of awkward. I think it's running behind. But anyway, just some random thoughts for the day. And feel free to come on through if you got something you want to say and tell me where you're from and you got some comments, feel free. Also, if you have to be a content creator, let me know. I will give you a shout out and I will follow your channel. I've had a few that have done that. So I will gladly check out your channel. I'll peep you out. Just let me know if you're coming through. So we will see. I will give this I'll probably do another 15 minutes or so just to see people coming through. Appreciate the ones that do and do give me conversation. It's a decent day. Let's see what we got. See what we're working with. Okay. Let's see. You're the way you brought me here. Because I think he underachieved. I think he could have been better. I think there could have been no doubt he was one of the 75 greatest players. I think as a defensive player, he was great. I think he had a great prototypical body style, like a David Robinson updated. He never learned how to shoot the ball. If you watch the finals against the Lakers, Derek Fisher and them were poking at him. He never learned how to be aggressive to the hole. With the Rockets, Western Conference Finals, him and James Harden got caught up on the top of the key. He ended up being a set as a pick, but he never learned how to develop a shot. That's the problem I had with Dwight Howard. I think physicality, but he just didn't do anything offense. Think about it. He's 17 and 12. If he could score halfway, a little bit more, that's 24 and 12. He missed out on about 7 or 8 points because of not adding anything to his repertoire. And Yes, he did great defense against Jokic, but if I tell you 5 years ago to today, Jokic done left him in the dust. And you know Dwight Howard is not better than Shaq, Bill Russell, Will Chamberlain, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Hakeem Olajuwon, Moses Malone, or David Robinson. That's 8 of them right there. And Jokic, that's 9. So he doesn't get the respect from his own because he did underachieve. He didn't finish what he said. And to some people, is he better than Patrick Ewing? Not on offense, he won't. And he didn't score enough on the other side of the ball. Defensively, he did a good job on him at the time, but that was then. And he didn't have an we never got to see him as an offensive. That's where you build your real estate. You get your building on your defense, but your real estate's on your offense. So I think he came up short in that regard. I didn't say his jersey shouldn't have been retired. I said it was good. I think he should still be playing today. But I think his off the court shenanigans and something going on is why he's not. I didn't say he shouldn't have been. I think he should be borderline 75, one of the best, for his 4 time. But I also understand why people kind of clowned him too, which he did get jeered at. Because now he can actually shoot the 3 ball. I saw him overseas about a couple years ago. He could shoot the 3. You ever heard of a guy named Shaquille O'Neal? Shaq was far better. Yeah, I did a video about, but there are 8 games on the 500. I can't get excited. Yes, they spanked the Lakers. What am I supposed to do with that? That's not no big surprise. The Lakers defense is soft. They're not that good. And they beat Denver without what? No Aaron Gordon, no Djokovic. Now let everybody be now that Lakers spanking was more of a surprise. And he ain't gonna win. So tell me that okay, I know Turkoglu, but Jameer Nelson wasn't no scrub. Wasn't he an all-star point guard for them? And Turkoglu, even though he was juicing up, no, that game against the Lakers, they should have stole. They won 1 game. They should have stole game 2. It was that inbounds play which went off. That was a good smart play. But he was never a force as an offensive playmaker. And that's what hurt him. That's what hurt him. Jameer was good for his time. For his time. For his time. He was an all-star. They had Rashard Lewis too. Don't act like they had a nice little squad. They get to the finals. They did not get to the finals 09, lost to the Lakers 4-1. Blew that 1 game though, I will say that. One gonna be better than Shaq. One gonna be better. Because Shaq was a better scorer. Look it up. Shaq was a 27 and 12 dude. Dwight was a 17 and 12 dude. He was never as dominant as Shaq offense. Shaq was like Giannis was before he went to the Lakers. That was a precursor to Giannis, except that Giannis shoots a little bit of a 3 ball. That's the only difference. Raw bone and going to the hole and rolling your. And you can ask anybody in real time, they will tell you that Shaq then would eat him up. That's all he really had, though. What else did he have, though? That does not make you, and also take this in consideration. They went to 1 finals. He wasn't dominating the East. And he wasn't a standstill alone guy like Shaq either. Shaq had a shot. Shaq could move. Shaq did have impact on defense. He did finish in second, I want to say in 2000. So don't play Shaq like he wasn't some buster on defense because he did have impact on defense. There's nothing you gonna tell me that I was the White Howard ain't seeing no Shaquille O'Neal. But I'm not like Shaq. I'm not gonna be petty and diss him, no. I don't talk about him. I just said what I said. I'm not gonna diss him though. I refuse to stoop to that level. And I do like Shaq a whole lot, but I'm not gonna say nothing vile about the man. But when you up here talking about the big white being way better, he did not impact his team to win more. And he followed Shaq's footsteps. Did he not go to Lakers? In Orlando, that's how he got picked as one of the 50 greatest players. And I was around back then. And Shaq was like a precursor to Giannis. And actually, he was a lot looser. Yeah. Thank you, TSP. Shaq was bad in Orlando. And don't act like the perimeter players didn't benefit from Shaq. You give Shaq Turgaloo and Rasheed Lewis to score like that and see what happens. Give Shaq that option with guys that could shoot. Because when they caged up on Nick Anderson and Dennis Scott, that all benefited from Shaq. So let's just see if we were going to compare and contrast. Cracks me up. Shaq put the Orlando Magic on the map. I don't know who I'd say is the best. I don't know. That's debatable. But Shaq came out the league and he was a high tier double double. And I can't say that about Dwight Howard. He was not a prolific scorer. I just think that he didn't do enough in that finals against the Lakers. And I remember how Derek Fisher and them got him in the wings and they stripped him clean. He didn't have a hook, he didn't have a move. He didn't have a shot. He didn't have a hook. He didn't have anything. So I was dumbfounded when Phil Jackson, no, not Phil, but when the Lakers got him 2 years later, I was kind of like, really? Y'all got the blueprint on how to stop him because he's got no shot. And I'll tell it like this. I'll go one step further. If you put his defense with Andrew Bynum's offense, you're still not touching Shaq. He didn't quit. They didn't have nothing. The way they got beat by the Bulls, what was he supposed to do? He was wasting away. He had a country bumpkin for a head coach. Penny was injured, and they really didn't have anything else to match with. What was he supposed to do? He left them, but he still was a productive man, but he wasn't being put to the best. He wasn't being put fully to his full potential. And most people tell you the two things that they used to say about Shaq is um, if he stayed in shape and he had the right coach, because in Orlando he didn't. Yeah, he always took shots at people, but Penny did get hurt though. I never said I condone that part of Shaq. I never will. I don't like some of the lot of stuff he says. I loved his game, but his antics and what he did was a bit much. I think there was a lot of immaturity. I'm not gonna argue with that. No argument from me. It wasn't this. He wasn't that big. He wasn't like this thing in Orlando. He was like Giannis. He was loose. He got bulked up when he went to LA. He got more in and that. But in Orlando, he was just like Giannis. He was cut and he was running the floor. The problem was he was raw bone. The problem was he didn't have he was a lot like Dwight. He could score and move, but he was pretty much one dimensional. And so he got kind of flat footed on some of the stuff he did. If it wasn't dunks and power plays, you know. And when he got to LA, he developed a bank shot, a little hook shot, and he moved. And of course, his footwork got even better in the paint when he's with the Lakers. His spin move was so under. See, that's why trying to have argument, trying to carry a case with Dwight. Dwight never had his footwork. Shaq went to Olajuwon and got them spins, that dunk when he did that 360, that spin move. You ain't seen nobody big move like that and do that spin and roll and twirl. No. Yeah, but I think Ben Wallace got more out of his career though. Ben was never a dude though that was in the same spotlight though. That's the thing. I never looked at LeBron as dominant. He went to all them finals, but I never was in fear. I don't look at him the same as I do Shaq. Mm-mm. It hits differently because for one thing, he had made teams that he put together. Shaq never did get the bounce from this to that and not do it with such velocity. Believe me, Shaq could have gone from Kobe to D Wade to Kyrie Irving to Anthony Davis. He's gonna have rings on both fingers. You're gonna call him Black Liberace. No, it wasn't. Offensively, dude, Patrick got him beat. What did he do better than Patrick Ewing? Okay, you can maybe make a case for defense, but what else? I mean, they both came up short. I'll give you that, but I can't even say that about. I mean, that's a good debate. But that's when he was what I call prime. I don't look at LeBron like that. He could go to 99 finals, but look at what he didn't work with. You could give Shaq one cat and pieces, and he could do it. Steph Curry, give him one cat and pieces, he could do it. LeBron, you got to give him two pieces, another piece, and then switch everything. He ain't as good as no Shaq. No, 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 no. Because then you're trying to tell me that Patrick Ewing is better than David Robinson and that he's better than Moses Malone and Hakeem Olajuwon, and I call cap on that. Nope. He didn't have he was great in college. That version of him in college, I'll give you that. But in the pros, he tried to finger roll. No, Dave Robinson won MVP and defensive player was better. And David's defense is no, no. Mm-mm. And I wasn't always the blown away with Dave Robinson, but he was better than Patrick Ewing. He was better. You go take a poll. You don't believe me? You take a poll. Take a poll and ask random cats. They may not like David because he was Navy man and he kind of had a passive vibe, but he was a better player. He was a scoring champion, league MVP, defensive player of the year, multiple finals. It's not really that close. I like Patrick Ewing better in college than I did his pro career, if you must know. And I remember that so-called with Dave DeBuscher with that whole David Stern lottery, which was so fixed, it wasn't even funny. That's that's when I learned how fixed stuff be. That was hilarious. He didn't go toe to toe with him. Let me tell you what I remember about that finals. Pat Riley lost faith in Patrick Ewing and let John Starks. And then you know what? Pat Riley was a precursor to what you got today with shooting the three ball. He lost faith in him. And that's what I remember. He wasn't a problem in the pros. He got him in college. I'll give you that. I remember the 84 finals, Georgetown, Houston. I'll give you in 84. But anything in the NBA is Hakeem all the way. Even Michael Jordan will tell you that. I like Patrick Ewing, but I always thought his NBA career didn't even come to the half of what his college career was. It's kind of like the Ralph Sampson situation. We could sit here and talk about cats, and I can remember when they were where they were. Shaq dominated and beat Patrick Ewing. He left him in the dust. And Dave Robinson pretty much did too. No one talks about Patrick Ewing. Not like that. I mean, yes, he's one of the great, but he ain't in that. He's he's more successful offensively than say Robert Parrish. He probably in that because Bill Walton got hurt, but no one has Patrick Ewing in their top 7 centers ever. Thank you. No one was talking about him like that. Who against Hakeem? Patrick Ewing? He didn't do much in the NBA against him. Not enough. Shh. And the real thing, I'll tell you this in hindsight. Yeah, Shaq lost on Orlando, lost to Houston. He was a young pup. But that's not why Orlando lost. Nick Anderson missed some free throws. They were just getting beaten in other areas. Because actually, Shaq and Hakeem almost canceled each other out, points and everything. But the others were huge for Houston. Kenny Smith came up huge. Ori, Clyde, they came up huge. They ran Orlando off the floor. That's what it was. It was more about and the coaching. But Patrick Ewing is not in that discussion. And look, I'm gonna tell you like this. I thought he had a really good career, but a better college career. If I'm gonna be honest about Patrick. You might be by yourself on that one, my friend. If this was 40 years ago, 35 years ago, I might have said, okay, I listened to you. I never got like that with him. He did. He was knocking them down. He came up big. They all. I can't take Akeem over none of the centers. Those guys. He's not on my top 4. He right up under. And if I'm gonna go by a guy not getting help and that's a dominant center, I'm taking Moses Malone. Why you jiving? Moses the one that schooled Hakeem's game up. Hakeem had better moves and overall game, but Moses was bad. He drew the double teams, but there again, there was a way to draw him. But see, I got this book called Who's Running the Asylum. Wilt Chamberlain talks about Hakeem, and he even pointed out in his book, he said there's something about Hakeem that even though all his talents, something was missing. Yeah, I take him over there. Yeah, I got Hakeem over those guys. Yeah. Hakeem is tied with Moses Malone for me in my next slot after I go over my main 4 centers. Him and Moses. And Jokic is right on their heels. But Jokic got to win another ring before I'd have him over Hakeem and Moses. He got to win another ring, another Finals MVP, and he got to leave his stamp. Not no more regular season MVP. Well, he pointed it out, and I can tell you if you want to know my flaws against Shaq, I like George Milton. The only problem I have with Mikan is this. He played in almost a non-black league. That's the only thing I hold against him. I kind of feel, and I hate to say it because he was great, but I have to be unfair. It wasn't the same balance. Just saying, not the same. Yeah, Shaq's shortcomings was his attitude, and sometimes you had to keep him. You had to keep lighting a fire up under him. I'm gonna have Shaq at my 4, and for me, he's anywhere from 1 to 4. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. I don't even count baseball before 1947. And the American League neither, where Larry Doby's concerned. I don't. Um, Shaq was a better center, I think, than Wilt, but Wilt was a better player. I've done videos on this and I've talked about it. Wilt against Kareem and Russell would have been very compelling, especially when he was at his peak in his prime. So I have to take that in consideration, you know. And all 4 of them I hold in different regards. I think Russell was the greatest leader of the four. I think Kareem had the sickest shot of the four. I thought Shaq was the most dominant of the four. And I thought Wilt was the most athletic of the four. Doesn't matter. Yeah, because I have to. So I do things differently if you watch my thing. I'm taking D Wade. I'll tell you that just a second. Um, Wilt, the center, wasn't dominant. Shaq was. But Wilt, the player, was scary. It's kind of like my argument with Steph Curry and Magic. I give me Steph as a point guard, but give me Magic as a better player because he can beat you in more ways. So I can put you in a spot, but I can't do nothing with this guy who can do more. I'm taking D Wade because of his leadership aspects. He didn't have an Elgin Baylor and a Wilt Chamberlain, and he willed himself with Shaq and Alonzo Mourning. He willed himself to. He's so underappreciated. West was a better pure scorer, and he could, but D Wade could defend with him. D Wade had less talent around him, and D Wade came up big a lot, and he willed LeBron to be a better player. Now, once we get past the logo and who can score, and we get through that, D Wade got him match for match to me. And I love Jerry West. I thought Jerry West has been disrespected by the Lakers, and he says so as much, you know. But Dwayne Wade was like that dude that a lot of people slept and forgot about how freaking awesome he was. Because there was a time for a small window he was better than LeBron and neck and neck with Kobe. Shaq lost to the Utah because they were better fundamentally sound. That goes back to coaching. Jerry Slow, excuse me, out coach Dale Harris. That's a no brainer. Karl Malone was too much. Now using your body. Rick Smith with Larry Brown using your body. The Bulls had a three-headed monster with Chicago. You got to understand the totality. And usually great players do lose to inferior. That's not exactly, you know why? So look at the situations with Utah, besides Kobe shooting those air balls. Stockton and Malone, Shaq, give him John Stockton. Let's see what happens. Give him a Jerry Sloan coach. Let's see what happens. Give him a Larry Brown coach who he beat in the finals and lost to, but let's see what happens. Luke Longley with Bill Winningham and all them and Rodman, the three-headed, and they still didn't stop him. He still put up 25, 27, 28, and 413, 14. But it was the team. And see, until he had a coach who knew how to structure him and rotate him, that was the situation. But why don't you tell me when he started winning what happened to all those pieces? And again, the last to three-peat, 4 trips in 5 years. Come on now. And 4 rings in 10, 6 finals. Come on now, you got to give it up to Shaq. Because the only person who's had the kind of success like that in recent memory was who? Steph Curry. Except Steph didn't three-peat. But the 4 and 10, think about it. All right, we got 8 votes so far. And I already explained the coaches that went up against Shaq, and I also told you totality too. And I like a big Jerry West fan. I like Jerry West a whole lot. But you give Dwayne Wade, Wilt, and Elgin Baylor, and Gil Goodrich, let's see what happens. Because he got a lot out of his teammates. D Wade was that dude. Even Jerry West gave it up to D Wade. I think he's been one of the most underappreciated players the last 20 some years. I have a poll question down there. That's what the 8 votes is for. Rick Smith was good. The Flying Dutchman, yeah. Thank you. See, because people kind of manipulate and act like Shaq just lost a lot of bartenders and bouncers. Those teams used to have defense. No, Smith is not over no Shaq. What he's making a point is Larry Brown. They had Reggie Miller, the Davis boys. You had some pieces. It's a matter of choice, and I'm not gonna. So when you ask me my question, I'm gonna defend D Wade. We just gonna have to go about it in two different lanes. That's all. As a matter of fact, there ain't but probably about 15 or so guys I would pick over D Wade. The legendary point forward was Dennis Rodman. But what I'm trying to say is that a lot of Shaq was going to deep in the East. But when the Bulls put the three-headed monsters on them, they locked them up. They played better defense. They keyed on Penny. They keyed on Nick Anderson. They keyed on Dennis Scott and took Orlando out. And some of it was coaching and making adjustments. So anyway, I don't have no problem if people stand to what they believe in. I ain't got no problem. I'm not gonna argue about it. You know, I hold D Wade in high regard, and like I said, there's only probably about Pacers. I thought he was talking about. I don't know. Larry Brown was the coach back then, and Reggie Miller was a handful on the perimeter. And they had some pieces. They did make some noise. So it wasn't like it was just easy to go through. They had the Davis boys, and they were no joke. Don't have to be. It's called a team. See, if you're looking at it, depends on what eyeballs you're looking at it. If we're looking at it from 2025, 2024, 2025 eyeballs, then no. 94, 95, 96 was a different ball game. But if I remember, Shaq did get to two straight Eastern Conference Finals. He went to one Finals his last 2 years. He was a young pup back then. I don't even know what this is going on about. Some people look at it in terms of stats. Some people don't see guys what they can mean. I'll give you a good example. Look at the New England Patriots, for instance. They had Chad Brown become their middle linebacker from Pittsburgh. And yes, he was. And I respect him big time. Um, he was a better talent than Teddy Bruschi, but guess what? He didn't fit Belichick's style. They got rid of him. Teddy Bruschi fit, and he wasn't gonna be no all pro nowhere else, but on that team. Sometimes you get the right pieces that compartmentalize. It's like Draymond Green with Golden State. He sucks anywhere else. But playing in that system, he thrives. Just saying. So it's about knowing your role and having the right pieces. I just look at when we make these cases about when someone brings up, oh, well, you got to have a legend. No, you don't. If you got like Lambeer was like that for Detroit, but he fit. See, you got to know how to get guys that fit what you putting down. It ain't always about the best; it's about the right fit. You know, it's all about fit. Yeah, I don't have no problem with nobody. People have been very cool and respectful. Didn't say no one said they were legendary, but they were a front line that was physical, and they could hack you and they could get physical with you. That's what the point is. Because when Shaq was going into his cadence, they ball him up. And they weren't nobody, they weren't taking no charges, they weren't flopping. That's another thing too. And once in a while, one of them might break out and have a 10-point game, but they were physical. Yeah. But it was a lot more physical back then too. So, but let me tell you a story. If they let Shaq do what he did, the way they play defense today, yeah, he'd be averaging 35, 40 easily. Even missing 10, 15 free throws because he'd be sitting on because they'd have to hack him. because they don't play no defense like that today. Yeah, no one's saying he was. He was far from it. For one thing, until he learned how to move his feet, and he did get better in LA. He got to be more fundamental, actually what feel. And then of course when he played with Riley. Because like I said, good coaching and pacing is what worked against that what he didn't have most of his career. And he still had a heck of a career. He'd be like Giannis. And don't let him have no outside shot. And he's got more excel in the perimeter than Giannis and Jokic combined and Embiid. So, because he knew he could move his wheels. He could move them puppies. It took LeBron 9. It took Jordan 7. It was tough. It was a tougher era. I ain't gonna you yeah, you gotta remember it was a different era. That was a tough era. Cause look, cats was coming at you and you weren't, people got spoiled by Magic. Okay. That wasn't the norm. And that was a incredible system, but that's not the norm. It's tough to win in a league where cats are always at you, you know. Yeah, if you give Shaq the right system and the team, yeah. Because remember, if you get the one right guy, then what about Barkley and Kidd versus Malone and Stockton? What about them? You asking me who would win? Is that what you asking me? Malone and Stockton gonna win that. And I was a bigger Barkley fan, but come on, man. Did you see the mailman with the turnaround? He got better and better as life went on. Jason Kidd was probably like the closest thing to a Magic, and that he could score two or less and beat you. But Stockton was more textbook style. And I'm gonna tell you something, like dry paint, but that paints and it's smooth and it beats you. Ain't too many people beating those guys. Those guys were scary. And I do like Barkley and Kidd a whole lot, but Mailman and Stockton, come on now. They lost the top tier. They went 7 games against those Lakers. Yeah, sometimes it be that way. It be that way because you so close. In any other situation, you winning. Like if any other situation for Tim Duncan, Carmelo might be considered the GOAT power forward or in that argument easily. And Stockton, if it wasn't, you know, depends on how you look at Magic, how you look at uh, Isaiah Thomas, how you look at Steph Curry. But he's in that class with them. They're in there, but they're not higher because they didn't win. But they're in there because they left an impact. That's the thing. So that's how close it is. Giannis does close on defense, though. He does take over games at the end, especially on the defensive side. I've seen him run up, done it. He's done more. He's more of a finisher than they are. I don't think that was the right choice I would have used because those two didn't finish like he did. I've seen him win games with his defense. He's come up big. That's why when it's all said and done, he can only go up. How high up he goes, I don't know. They were older, and I don't have a problem with Jerry Krause saying that was the last run because again, you could tell a guy was coming near the end. Jordan and Pippen was looking broke, and Rodman, and you saw Rodman didn't play for like a couple more years. I mean, I could tell. I didn't see him go left hand, take a shot off. He beat Joel Embiid on one of them games at the end. Yeah, he does those last second. His timing is impeccable. He really knows how to utilize his size and his strength. I don't think Jordan will win anymore. Probably got one more run, maybe the 99, maybe. That's it though. I don't think they'll get more out of that. He was bad in college. I remember because they went to three straight finals. They lost to Carolina because that ball thrown to Jordan hit the shot, and then they beat Houston, and then they lost to Villanova, which was considered an upset back then. That's when teams could sit on the clock and the game would be over at 49-45. You looking at college basketball today, 40 years ago, they played crazy eight corner, and you could hold a team, and it was really frustrating when they played that zone and just threw the ball around. Was a different time. But he was bad in college though. Him, cats like him and Ralph Sampson, yeah. He had enough to get it up out of him, and he probably may have had one more run after that, and that's about it. Because obviously when he came back to Washington, he had a little bit juice in the tank, but, you know, it's tough when you gotta play with a bunch of kids and trying to even be a contender as opposed to when you didn't had what you had. Mhm. Oh, I remembered it. I remembered it. Because cats used to play four corner ball. They just throw the ball in the corner. And you see scores today that were not back then. If a team back then could crack 70 or 80, that was a dynasty. That was like, uh-oh, like UNLV, the running rebel, like when teams could score. You didn't have no high scoring. That's why Dean Smith kept Jordan's style under wraps. Because all the athleticism, that thing, when he let that thing out the bag, it was like, wow. He was one of them. He's one of them. I've seen a lot of great college players though, so that don't really being honest with you, there was a lot of great college players also. All right, please keep on hitting the likes or to hit them or something. I disagree. I disagree. Kobe, yeah, because he'd have had more mental fortitude. He would approach things a lot more composed in terms of playing with Shaq, understand what was in progress. I think he would have had more mental. I don't think his game would have necessarily been better, except for understanding being a better teammate. I think that's why he's not in the argument for GOAT. So from a maturity perspective, I can give you that. But it has nothing to do with his game being better. It been his maturity process with who he's playing with. I think from that. As far as LeBron goes, he was ready to play. But again, it's more about discipline, not understanding the head coach and not understanding totality, putting things in perspective. I don't see neither one of them being better. I mean, LeBron turned out to be where he was because he was a compartmentalist. So he tried a bit of everything. I think in terms of understanding, uh, the totality, maturation is more what I would say. Mm-mm, mm-mm. There's a good chance he has a Vince Carter career, but that does not mean he wasn't a better player than Iverson. It's just that he doesn't have because you had to have a Phil Jackson and Shaquille O'Neal to push him. That's the best thing that could have ever happened to him. That's the best school he could have ever had, being young and vulnerable and having that. I disagree because they didn't bring Paul Silas was a good coach. Mike Brown was good, but they never had that type of standard of a coach there. The only thing he could have learned in college, look, the guy was good enough to come to the pros. I'm gonna give him that. I saw him. As a matter of fact, his junior year in high school, he was good enough to be in the pros. So when you got that kind of talent, we're not arguing that. His problem is communication and understanding authority and putting it into perspective. It's not about his game. His game was matured. He didn't have an outside shot and he couldn't shoot the three. But as far as rotating movement, getting what he needed to get, that's not his, but that wasn't a problem. Well, it depends on what Hakeem era we're talking about because, you know, but he had the best challenge by having a coach like Phil and having a Shaq. He was in the right situation that enabled him and forced him to get help and understand what you could and couldn't have. Because the first few years without Shaq, it wasn't much to him. He was scoring a lot, but his team was nothing but a auction block. Yeah, you gotta find me a players that I can give you. Like if you mentioned Jermaine O'Neal, I'd say yeah. You'd have told me Amari Stoudemire, I'd say yeah. You'd say Kevin Garnett, I say college Tracy McGrady. But Kobe's situation was different because he just needed the maturation. His game was polished. Actually, he had more of a better all around game than aside from passing, understand where to put people in perspective. He did, and they stunk. What's up? How you doing? I'm not gonna be on here too long, Charlene. I only got like about 10 more minutes because I've been on here for an hour. I got 10 more minutes before I gotta go. No, because Phil was not gonna coach a guy that he figured to be a head case. Got 10 more minutes. I'm on for 10 more. We'll make it 10 more. Yeah. Iverson would not listen to Phil. He wasn't even listening to Larry Brown. Larry Brown was a point guard's coach. Larry Brown was a point guard and really good. And he had a hard time with Iverson. So there's no way in the world that Phil was gonna be able to, you know, keep on hitting that pole, hit them likes up when you're coming through. But how's your day going, Charlene? How you doing? Been here for an hour. I got about 9 more minutes. I'll be here for about hmm probably about 7 more minutes. Cool, cool. Glad you came through. All of them get swept, but it's what you learn from it. But when you start talking about going to college, I think that Kobe's case being more disciplined with playing on that level. That means that if you're good enough, you're gonna eventually go through what everybody goes through. Plus, of course, you're like Tim Duncan, because I can't recall if he did get swept. There was very few in between. But lots of great players go through the heartaches of getting embarrassed and going through the broom because you're going to go against someone that just got it over you. And it happens. If you play long enough, it's going to happen. If you never get the right situation, I can't hit it on this channel. I don't know. I was laughing at that. That's why I did that video because I don't know what the heck he talking about. I know he act like he trying to say something, and I don't. No, the Lakers didn't sweep the Sixers in 2001. They 4-1, and I Sixers played tough, and Larry Brown coached those guys up. Just that Shaq was unstoppable. He's an actor, but he can't sit there and say he ain't Hollywood when he been big budget movies and got the awards and been all that. What are you talking about? If Denzel Washington had a career like maybe he had a Morris Chestnut career, somebody who could act but didn't blow up, I might could believe that. But we're talking about a guy who got like 10 Oscar nominations and been all in places, please. They did. They did. And they were unstoppable. They were like a Mack truck. Yeah, okay, well, that's like one of the few times. I forgot about I wasn't thinking about it because that was so few. That's so few. And by the way, he was my second favorite player to Shaq in the early O's too. And I hold Tim Duncan in high regard. So you didn't really embarrass him too much because he always found a way to bounce back. And he's another one. If it wasn't for the dominance of Shaq, he probably have rings on both fingers too. He almost does now. People forget how lethal he was. It's a bad boy. But anyway, okay. All right, now let me know where everybody's at. We got 10 votes so far, 57% saying yes. Okay. Appreciate that and keep hitting the likes up. Coming to the home stretch. Yeah, I had admitted that one part. I was so busy. So what's he say? Curtis. Yeah, Denzel is in denial, but he tripping. That's fair enough, Charlene. That's fair enough. He didn't because Golden State, he was never going to get by that when Durant was there. And he just happened to put himself in situations that he kept, you know, but he didn't go through what some of those other guys went through where they couldn't beat certain teams or certain things came about. So that's true. I'm going to take everyday people. And I did like choice of colors a lot, but I take everyday people. It's just the way that's Sly had with different strokes, different folks. His phrases and his tone. I'll say it like this: as an instrumentalist, I'll give Curtis Mayfield the edge, but songs and consciousness, I gotta give to Sly Stone. He had a unique way of connecting. He just had a way of connecting. Okay. Yeah, people keep taking the poll. We got a good poll going. We got good. Hmm. By the way, Charlene, I'm back on tomorrow, probably about one is your time. So just letting you know, I've been on for like an hour. So you go back 1 hour from that, I'm be on the same tomorrow. I got something to do tomorrow night, so I'll bring it back to the normal time, probably Thursday. Then I'm taking Friday off and Saturday. So, well, I might come on Friday for an hour, but it'll be a little bit later though. I never been told that before, but I'll keep that in mind. I do like Sherlock Holmes though, and Sherlock Holmes slice. I like the conversation though. It's been really live though. Mhm. So I got 5 more minutes before I'm gonna roll. And if you're coming back tomorrow, feel free. Be like an hour early, but at the same time, it's just that tomorrow. So I got about 5 more minutes. Appreciate the people taking the poll question and all the ones that have come through today. Around this time or an hour early, it's usually either this time or an hour before now. I'm thinking Friday probably like an hour later, but tomorrow, it's kind of like today, like an hour before now. And everything goes right. Thursday will probably be right at this time. Well, about an hour before now. Yeah, he should be a Hall of Famer anyway. They never tested anything. He was an AL MVP. He was an AL Rookie of the Year. He was a World Series winner. He should be in the Hall of Fame. It's just a bunch of late Johnnies who are trying to act like they're so righteous. They didn't have no rules about nothing. He saved the game when he was with the St. Louis Cardinals. I don't know what they make trying to make him out to be like a bad guy when they needed him. He was a bad dude. I still remember that home run he hit off of Randy Johnson in Kingdom when he was a kid, and he was way thinner too. Hit that ball dead center. Mark McGuire could tee off. Yeah, he should be a Hall of Famer. He was 3 straight years, 60 home runs. They knew whatever was going on, but that still ain't got to do with his hand-eye coordination. That guy could flat out hit the ball. He sucked in the outfield, but he could hit. This how I call cap on Major League Baseball because they used everybody to get up, and then once they got up, now they act like they don't know him. That's why it's the most comical Hall of Fame of all. Yeah, but that's not what That still didn't. That just came out. A lot of them do it. Yeah, he hit 47. But what's happening? What's up, Dakota? It's not the. If you think he's a Hall of Fame, you think he's a Hall of Fame, and if you don't, you don't. That's what it comes down to. They got you thinking that the boogeyman that he somehow miraculously became this. You know, could have been. We can't tell. He had great strength, though. I mean, who cares? Because the bottom line is we will never know the truth because the ballparks were built in, the balls had bounced to them. You had pitchers who were relief pitchers who had ERAs of high three, low fours. Okay, how am I supposed? What am I supposed to do with that? Bagwell was a bad dude. He could hit. I don't know about any juice, but he could hit. Yes, I know about the Bussy. I listened to the Bussy. I listened to Rhymes, Mozart, Beethoven, and I'm very familiar. I listened to some of those. There was a Debussy. I forgot which one it was. If you come on tomorrow, I'll talk more about it. But it's funny because no one usually asks me about Claude Debussy. And I listen to Brimes. I listen to all that. I can't say who's on the juice or whatnot. I'll say this: the balls were bouncing, the ballparks were built in, the strike zone was wide, and it. If you pay attention, they did stuff on point. Yeah, I remember. Oh yeah, Michael was a huge classical music lover. And I used to listen to Scott Joplin and Ragtime and all that. Marvin Ham they took all that stuff from Scott Joplin and Ragtime. So, oh yeah, great stuff. I like concertos. Matter of fact, it was an album burlesque. If you can get a chance with Wynton Marsalis and Kathleen Battle, look it up on YouTube. You'll like that, especially her operatic tone. And Wynton was playing trumpet on it. Some nice stuff. Actually, I like his classical stuff, and I do his jazz stuff on the whole. Just saying. Elvis was more popular. That's a no-brainer. I mean, that's kind of obvious because a Purple Rain 1999 and a bit of a run aside, Prince was not more popular than Elvis Presley. Yeah, Elvis had some talent though, but you know, but no. In fact, Prince was a huge Elvis fan because a lot of some of the stuff he did, like the lyrics and stuff, was very much inspired by Elvis. If you watch, listen to some of his stuff. Okay, I think I'm going Michael Jackson because if you can be a child actor and then you child artist and you go bigger as an adult, Elvis wasn't more popular in the '60s than the Beatles, and in the '70s he started to fade it. Michael was big in the '60s, '70s, household, owned everything in the '80s. In the '90s onward, it was hit and miss, but he was still known. But it, yeah, yeah. The real one is Chuck Berry, but Elvis was a very talented in terms of persona and charisma. He could hold his own as far as being talented. Well, mainly his charisma, his personality. He was very charismatic. But Chuck Berry did the music, the duck walk, all that. Mhm. But Elvis was charismatic though. So anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and bounce. Appreciate everybody coming through. I will be back tomorrow, and I'm looking forward to more conversation. Stay safe, stay blessed, stay woke, stay free. Great talking to everybody. Nice talking to you, Charlene, and we'll come back tomorrow. We're gonna definitely tackle more into that. All right, peace. The best. I'm out.